Okay, wow, that happened. You're called to the scene to investigate. What's your first question? What happened? Or how'd that happen? These are good questions. In fact, a lot of safety professionals will ask them as well. But the most important question you could ever ask is, why did this happen? Incident, or accident causation if you want, is a very important piece of the investigative process. In fact, it's likely the most important. So let's talk about incident causation and why it matters. Hi, my name is Kevin Barrett. I make health and safety related videos here on YouTube. This is the 8th video in the Incident Investigation Theory and Practice series. We've talked about a lot of different things that led up to this. We've talked about being ready for the incident. We've talked about getting the call and how to deal with it. We've talked about gathering data at the scene and putting everything into a timeline. Now it's time to consider why things happened. The reason you want to do this is fewfold. Number one is, of course, prevention. You don't want it to occur again. Number two is you're going to have to report your findings to others, and likely people higher up than you. They don't care about opinions, they care about facts. And finally, those facts will lead you to being able to facilitate change, whether it be change in procedure, change in policy, or who knows, even affecting some culture shift and safety culture change. Let's look at a few of the different methods for determining incident causation. Oh, and by the way, I have a question to ask you towards the end of the video, so stick with me, okay? When it comes to incident causation, you get hit with a lot of different terms. They're just like overwhelming. They all fall under 3 basic principles. So let's talk about those principles. You have root cause, basic causes, which can be thought of as 2 or 3 roots, and causal factors. So just a quick overview of each and how they're applied, and then in the next videos, or subsequent videos, I'll be examining each with a bit more detail. So root cause. You know what? There's a few definitions. It's initiating cause of either a condition or causal chain that leads to an outcome or effect of interest. Another definition could be it's the fundamental reason for the occurrence of a problem. Essentially, it's the linchpin. It's like the Jenga fall. If you take and remove that one thing, then the incident wouldn't have occurred.
Do they let you go back in time and change the past?
So if you could go back in the past and take away one thing, and that's when that's how you're looking at root cause, is how could I go back in the past, remove one thing, and keep this event from ever occurring again? Let's go back to our forklift scenario. And just think, you're questioning the operator, talking to the operator, and you ask them, did you realize that you were exceeding the lift? And they said, yeah, I knew I lifted way too much. You question other operators and they knew how much to lift and the scales were working and they knew that they weren't supposed to do this. So you can conclude that this is operator error, and that's might be how you look at it as the root cause. Don't worry, we'll talk more about root causes in other videos. In fact, we'll go over some different methods as to getting to root cause, and one of them might have been following up and asking more whys for why did you do this, why did this happen, etc. One thing I'll leave you with is there's a lot of incident investigators that don't agree with the root cause principle because they feel that when you start looking at the different influencing factors, different ethnic and cultural backgrounds for the workers, different experience levels for the workers, different equipment that they may have been using, and other factors that they don't have control of, such as the weather, that it becomes very difficult to portray a root cause. Which leads me to the next point. The next point is basic causes. Now, the notion of basic causes is kind of like an evolution or natural progression from root cause. It's basically that there's 2 or 3 other causal events or situations or things that led up to this incident occurring, and that you can't just remove one. That you have to remove the 1 or the 2 or 1, 2, and 3 to keep the event from occurring. Let's go back to the forklift situation. Let's say that during your incident investigation that you also examine the machinery as part of it, which you should be doing, and you note that the tires needed service as well, that they were in very poor condition. I know the photo shows good tires, but let's just step out on a limb with the imagination here. So you note that the tires were in such poor shape, plus the overload, that either one of them could have contributed to the incident. You're not sure which. So you look at those as the basic causes. Finally, we get to the last one, that's causal factors. The notion is there's several different events, situations, or things that each one of them either forms a chain of events or a chain. You can think of maybe even in your timeline that you drew that might have been part of it. Many incident investigators consider this notion the most effective way to conclude how and why an incident occurred. Each contributing factor is analyzed, and it's given weight as to how it contributed to the incident and how it influenced the incident to occur. Let's consider the following possibilities for the forklift. Let's just say that you investigated the whole entire incident. You found that the operator was late coming back from their break and they were in a rush. They neglected a lot of the safe processes and they grabbed way too much material that they should have. Now, on examination, you found that it was normal for this operator. In fact, it was because he was very good at what he did that the supervisor ignored a lot of it. Then you find further that the supervisor and this operator are friends. The next thing you note, of course, the forklift tires needed servicing. You also note that there's several different people using the forklift that day. Not just one person, there were several. There was also no process in place for each user to check. There's just the one pre-use checklist at the start of the shift. You also look at the pre-use checklist and you find that they look almost identical each day. And of course, looking at the material that got tipped over, you notice that the load limits were exceeded for the lift. So it could be noted that there's a lot of different contributing factors. You can assign different weights to each, etc. But when it gets right down to it, there was a lot of different things that factored into it, and a lot of different things need to be changed. Wrapping it all up, giving it some additional thought. There isn't any cut and dried or cookie cutter solution to determining incident causation. Incidents are like fingerprints and they have to be treated individually. In fact, you may look at them and decide, root cause. Yeah, no problem. Got that right down pat. Or, you know what, there's a couple of things. We look at the basic causes for this incident. Or the incident was very complex and you need to consider all of the causal factors because all of them need to be changed so that you can prevent further things from occurring in the future. Here's the question I got to ask you. What are you doing in your workplace? Are you just looking at root cause only and that's the only thing that you do? I'm not saying it's wrong, but is it A, root cause only? Is it B, basic causes that you understand that there's one or two or three things that contribute to an incident? And so everything that you've had to investigate is all basic causes. Or are you C, always considering causal factors and looking for every possible thing and looking to eliminate it so that you don't have future occurrences? Or are you D, deciding it depends solely on the incident and the incident determines on how you're going to determine incident causation? As I promised you in the next few video segments, I'm going to be looking at each root cause, basic causes, and causal factors a bit more in depth and giving you the processes behind how they're determined. And I'll be leaving, of course, links for more resources and for further study. So hey, we got to the end. As I've asked before, if you liked the video, do me a favor, give me a like. Just click that like button. If you didn't, do me a favor, comment down below. Let me know why, and you can click that unlike button. If safety's your passion, you like it, and you want to learn more, or you want to get caught up on this video series, I'm going to leave some links to some other helpful videos here. Feel free to have a look at them and comment on those as well. Until we talk again, do me a favor, think safety, talk safety, do safety. That way we provoke it at home and in the workplace. Take care. Bye for now.